First time in India for me, and great to be here on the panel with my distinguished friends. So maybe I'll introduce myself very briefly. I work for Orbs. We're a blockchain infrastructure project, been around since 2017. And what we do is we provide decentralized backend for DeFi protocols. And in addition, we're a proof of stake blockchain, and there's staking for our token. So let's maybe do a short round of introduction of everyone. Mohak, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Sure, thanks. Hi guys, I'm Mohak. I'm the founder of ClayStack, which is a liquid staking protocol to unlock liquidity of staked assets. I've been running validator nodes for almost 6 years now. Prior to ClayStack, I was running Wolfich, which is a staking as a service company with more than $200 million in assets under delegations.
Hello everyone, Matthias here, first time in India. Great to be here as well. So one of the core team member for SSV Network, the very first implementations of distributed validator technology, or you can call it DVT. Basically, it helps to, in short itself, it enable fault tolerance and resiliency to the overall validator performance to actually solve single point of failure and also validator private keys online. I'll share about it later more. Yeah.
Amitej?
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Amitej. I'm one of the co-founders of Stader Labs. We are a multi-chain liquid staking platform with about $230 million in assets staked across Ethereum, Polygon, and BNB. So that's.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you, guys. I apologize if I'm a bit, if I look a bit tired. I started the day hiking at the Nandi Hills, 4:30 a.m. today. So excuse me for that. I guess the next question would be maybe let's define staking. So Mohak, if you can maybe tell us what staking is, what it does, how it relates to blockchain, and how it contributes to the network.
Sure. The easiest questions are always the most difficult ones. So think of staking as a way to secure a blockchain using economic consensus. For the sake of this discussion, I'll focus on delegated proof of stake. So what happens is, think of a blockchain where, let's say there are 100 validators out there. Every validator is proposing new block, confirming new blocks. You as a delegator, what you do is you delegate these tokens to these validators. And depending upon the amount of stake that each validator has, it's directly correlational to the probability of you getting the opportunity to sign a block. So for a validator, it's like in their sake of interest to not behave maliciously, because there are huge penalties or strong penalties if you don't behave well, if you're offline. So that ways you are able to get like fast execution speed. And then there are challenges like if you have more validators, then the gossip increases and it becomes slow. So that's why for any blockchain, it's always a challenge that what should be the right number of validators? Should it be 21? Should it be 100, 600, infinite? And for securing this stake on the network or securing the blockchain, you get rewarded. As a staker, you delegate these tokens to these validators. They charge some commissions, and then you get returns for that. Most networks, what they do is they have a 4 to 8 years of period where they anticipate that the network will be decentralized. Till then, these rewards come from like network inflation, new tokens, and after that, network becomes or network generates enough revenue to incentivize everyone in the ecosystem.
Yeah, super interesting. Thank you for the definition. And yeah, I think staking is a very good way for ordinary people to participate in protocols, right? Even if you can run your own validator, even if you don't have the required technical knowledge, you can still just stake your tokens to someone who does know how to do that, and that way you can earn rewards, as you have said, but also contribute to the operation and security of the network. So staking is a great thing, I think, and one of the bigger pillars now of our industry. So Matthias, what would you say are the recent innovations, like the cool things happening in the staking space that we should be updated on?
I think this is actually quite a good question for me. So I think a very innovative innovation is basically the project I'm working on right now. Is DVT, Distributed Validator Technology. I think let's touch on, the problems in the market right now that you guys have probably seen. I think the most recent one is basically, I think there's 10 over thousands of validator keys itself that got leaked. That's number one. Then a couple of months ago, we see that Ethereum finality cannot be reached. That caused, there's a couple of clients that's affected, and it caused quite a big amount of validator nodes that go offline. All right, so what I feel that DVT itself is very innovative is because it actually solves this problem, all right? So a little bit about DVT. What it really do itself is it actually enable staking service or solo stakers to be able to take the original validated private key, split it into shard key, and allows and enable multiple machines with different configurations. When I mention about different configuration, I mean like different clients, different data centers to collaboratively run one key. So this actually create a fault tolerance and resiliency to the validators, all right? So that also means that if, let's say, for example, Prism or Gap or whoever have a bug or whatsoever went offline, you do not need to worry about your overall validator performance that will get affected or go offline, because in a DVT setup itself, even one of the operator go offline, as long as you reach threshold in the consensus for the other 3, 5, 7, or whatsoever, the overall validator will be still proposing and testing on the beacon chain. That's number one. And sharding of key itself with DVT, it actually allows you to actually keep that private keys, all right, the validator private keys, anywhere you want after you shard it. You don't have to expose it online 24/7 anymore, which is actually a big risk right now in Ethereum staking, all right? Then just want to add on a little itself is that I think Vitalik have mentioned a few things as well in terms of like, multi-sig for Ethereum staking, and also empowerment to stakers, staking services itself to pick and choose who they actually want to work with in terms of their setup. So there's also one thing about SSV Network that we actually transit from a simple classic DVT solution into what we call as a DVT network itself that enable and empower everyone to actually pick and choose whoever they want to work with. And generally, DVT, you can think it in a most simple term, is like a multi-sig for running a validators. Yep.
That was quite comprehensive, Matthias. Thank you for that. Amitej, in your opinion, how do you think that staking interacts with like the actual security and operation of the network? Is it like how do you think it's related? Is it like a one-to-one thing, or is it more loose relation? What's your opinion on that?
So I think staking is like a fundamental component for any POS network security. I mean, it's as important as the blockchain itself, right? Like without that, you can't secure the transactions, you can't secure any smart contracts, and obviously Ethereum moving to proof of stake last year was a big event in itself, and some of the blockchains that were launched after Ethereum, all of them have modeled after the proof of stake, so which stands to say that staking is like super critical for the network security. So what is the follow-up question that you had?
And that was what I was aiming for. Yeah. So maybe you want to kind of be the first to maybe your take about the risks associated. So obviously, we kind of established what staking is and how important stake is to the health of the ecosystem. And then what do you think are the risks that kind of are associated with it?
So there's nothing called a free lunch. So everything that gives you some yield will obviously also comes up with its own risks. While the risks associated with staking are quite minimal, The major risks that exist are obviously if you're running your own validators, you losing your keys, that means you'll probably not be able to withdraw your ETH. All of those risks exist if you're your own operator. But if you're staking with somebody like a liquid staking protocol, or if you're just staking your Matic or Sol or something on a specific validator, the risks are very minimal. The only risks that exist with respect to plain native staking are the slashing risks that the protocols impose. Otherwise, risks are pretty much non-existent as long as you are able to safeguard your own keys. With regards to liquid staking protocols like us, ClayStack, Lido, etc., the additional component of risk is the smart contract risk, where in case the smart contracts get hacked and hackers are able to get control of the smart contracts, they are able to drain the protocol. The depeg risk is another big risk.
Yeah, and
I actually wanted to add something on this because like my experience being running as validators, one of the thing that kind of scares me a lot of times in even the largest proof of stake networks, which is not talked much is, if you see like proof of work, right? Any client upgrade comes in, it's heavily audited. It takes like days before like anyone upgrades it. Same for Ethereum, even the binary upgrades, they're heavily audited versus a lot of big layer ones. Like when you're running validators, like 90% of the validators do not like audit the binary, that what does this update is about. They're like, hey guys, we have a new V2.1 and you have next 8 hours to update it. Please update it ASAP. And then you upgrade it, then hey guys, there was some issue with the last upgrade. Let's upgrade V2.2 in the next 4 hours. And most validators just like blindly upgrade. There was one company who was trying to create like or disintegrate what every upgrade is, but that did not work out very well. So I just like hope that eventually validators become like more cognizant about doing those upgrades.
yeah, so I have a follow-up for you, Mohak, on this. We are touching on the risk associated for the users, but I would also like to understand the risks associated, like the risk potentially to the network itself. Like one very common kind of claim with respect to Ethereum specifically is that Lido is essentially running too many of the nodes. So if something happened to Lido themselves, right? Lido is a very big liquid staking provider. So people stake via Lido, and Lido end up running Ethereum validators. And one of the risks people talk about is centralization risk. Essentially, you have like one big entity running this big chunk of the network. I don't remember the percentages right now, but quite high. And therefore, maybe they can attack the network themselves, or if something in their DevOps gets compromised, could be an issue. So I was wondering, what's your opinion on that for the network itself?
Yeah, I think in crypto, like we have a tendency now, like I sometimes feel it's like 2008 again, where you see like something is vetted by some party, then you like just blindly trust it. And what's happening right now there is that the stake is increasing for Lido. It's almost 32.5%. Again, I did not check the exact number, but somewhere around that, which is very, very big for one entity itself. It puts the whole consensus at risk. And the way kind of it works is that when Lido was created, it was a centralized but scalable architecture. And the argument is that we work with the top professional validators out there. If anything happens, if any slashing penalty happens, then they're going to make us full. The reality is none of the insurances like give 100% insurance to any validator out there. It's a very limited amount of insurance that they get, but just under that thing that it becomes like very comfortable for users to stake to. The other challenge is specifically, this is specific for like Lido, for example, you would see centralization risk in many other spaces like lending, borrowing, DEXs, but there the network consensus is not being affected. Whereas here, what's happening is you are getting 8 to 10 times more power in Ethereum governance via Lido governance, which is much more fragile than obviously Ethereum, which is much less decentralized and puts the whole network at risk. So there have been like efforts being made by different protocols to try to diversify that stake. We, for example, we launched our first DVT-based liquid staking protocol on mainnet. And as Matthias was explaining, in DVT, every node is being run by multiple operators. So if one goes down, other takes care. And most protocols, when they try to bring home stakers, because this is something everyone talks about, that, hey, we want to decentralize. But the challenge is when you bring home stakers, there is a risk that if they don't perform well, then what happens? You lose rewards, you lose principal. And that's where like DVT comes into the play, that you are able to create clusters or combination of home stakers, professional validators, and able to actually decentralize the validator set and remove this risk. Yeah.
Okay, very, very, very interesting. I'll ask Amitej. So, who do you feel is the right target audience for staking? I know some projects are focused on institutional staking. Some platforms are working more on retail staking. Who do you think is like the target audience that the industry should be focused on?
Yeah. So let me answer that for the overall market first, and then probably I'll come to who we focus on. So if you actually scan the market, majority of the, sorry, just one question. Are you asking about liquid staking or general staking?
You decide.
Sorry? Okay.
You can answer both.
Cool. So staking is a market for pretty much everybody because of the low risks associated with it. Like I mentioned, it's only the slashing risks. So that's why if you see the percentage of network tokens that are staked are upwards of 55 to 60%, except on Ethereum. So for staking, like pretty much every kind of audience is using it, apart from institutions that have legal barriers with regards to considering staking income, etc. So we kind of keep those aside. So when it comes to liquid staking, so far what we have seen is the most important segments that have preferred liquid staking are like obviously the retail individuals and institutions that want to earn higher yields out of their POS tokens like Ethereum or Matic, etc. The reason why they prefer liquid staking is they can stake with a platform like us or ClayStack or anybody. They get a receipt token and then they can do a bunch of things with that receipt token, like collateralizing it on lending platforms like Aave, Compound, and taking loans and then getting into positions with those loans, etc. So these are the two major segments that we have seen showing significant amount of inclination to liquid staking, and also a bunch of trading segment which wants to exit in and out of positions based on the market volatility. So these three segments have preferred liquid staking historically. And we do see some amount of interest from the large institutions like VC funds and TradFi institutions in liquid staking, but I would say they're too far away from this spectrum.
Okay, thank you for that. Interesting. So essentially, one of the things we've established here is you can run your own node and stake your own tokens with your own node. Some people do it, a lot of people don't. Matthias, for you, for someone who is looking to participate and stake without running their own node, there are different venues, right? You have decentralized venues, you have centralized venues. Could you maybe lay out what are the different venues and what are the different kind of approaches they take?
Sure. I think I'll break this up, okay? I think the general idea of the industry is moving towards a more decentralized staking side of things. Holding your own key, non-custodian, or even towards the DKG directions as well, right? But let's be a little realistic over here, all right? I mean, okay. Centralized exchange, that is staking enabled, for sure, Then there is, of course, defined platforms that's liquid staking like ClayStack and Stader as well, right? But I think every individual options cater to very different crowd, all right? I mean, yes, it might not be good, to use centralized exchange to stake your ETH or whatsoever, but, not all big staking service provider like Blockdaemon, Figma, they're gonna accept like small amount of ETH. But for people who are not that tech savvy, don't even know how to open a MetaMask wallet. Old people, they want to stake ETH. They maybe think that ETH is like a bond. They want to stake it.
I wonder how many old people are staking ETH.
My uncle is staking. My uncle is staking. Yeah. I did not brainwash him, but he's staking stuff, which caught me by surprise. Okay, so I mean, one is centralized exchange. I think it's catered for people who are not very tech savvy. All right, but I don't want to sound really, very, very centralized, but I think they do serve a group of customers itself that do not know anything, but just want to stake, all right? Then, of course, towards the industry itself, they're moving towards, like, decentralized, right? Going into a decentralized platform like Stader and ClayStack, right? I mean, they are both going to utilize DKG at the end of the day, where no one holds the key does not exist at all, you don't have to worry about custodianship and all this stuff. Any rewards that's generated from what you stake itself is going to go back to whatsoever address, all right? So it depends. I would say it really depends. I mean, it depends on where is your comfort in terms of how you stake out ETH, right? So of course, we talk about solo staker as well. Of course, if you have that, you are developers, you have that necessary technicality and all this, then go run your own nodes. Stick it yourself, you have 32 ETH, stick it, run it yourself, you control every single thing, right? Then last but not least itself, I think in terms of safer options itself, which what I'm seeing, at least over from SSV side itself, right, is that there are actually more and more centralized exchange, staking service, staking pools, staking applications. There are more and more people adopting DVT SSV technology, even centralized exchange. Because I think ultimately itself, right, they also want to make sure that their business will go on, right? They need to be decentralized to actually cater that need. And to make sure that they are secure, to make sure that their validators are always earning the best return for whoever they trust them for their ETH. Does that answer the question?
I think it did. Yeah, thank you for that. So I have an open discussion. I'll ask the three of you. So obviously, I think staking has established itself. Orbs was a proof of stake blockchain in 2017. So Ethereum finally caught up to our technology. And now we have Ethereum as proof of stake. That was a joke, whatever. So we have Ethereum now is a proof of stake. I think most big L1s now are proof of stake based. Staking has become quite big. Again, different types of staking as we have discussed. Centralized, decentralized, liquid staking. What additional innovation do each of you foresee in let's say next 3 years for staking? So each of you, I would love to hear your opinion.
I think to keep it simple, to be honest, so if you see, staking has three primary risks, okay? One is the price risk. The yield is, let's say, 5%, and if you buy an asset which goes down by 50%, you lost 10-year yield, okay? That's one. Second is the slashing risk, that you can lose your principal if the validator does not behave well. Third is the smart contract risk, which exists overall in DeFi. Now, if you hedge all these three risks today, it can be done. It's just it's heavy on price. You cannot find it economical enough. But eventually, all these three risks will become economical. Already insurance is coming down. There are ways to kind of prevent or pull out the liquidity before the hacks, multiple ways. So insurance cost will come down, price hedging risk will come down, and smart contract risk will come down. Sorry, slashing risk will come down. And when it happens, then there's a huge opportunity to build structured yield product, which can give fixed rewards, stable rewards. Right now, yes, US Treasury bills yield is very, very high, but that's not going to be the case forever. That's going to come down. And when that happens, then it's for masses who don't care about prices. Because if anyone buys any proof of stake asset for staking, that's kind of stupid. Because, you're not buying an asset for 4% rewards. You have to be bullish on that asset. But if you hedge these three risks, build a structured product, you're looking for endowments, pension funds, massive retails, ETFs, using these. So that's where I feel like the masses will come from.
Yeah, very interesting. I agree. I think today most people who stake is just like, I already have ETH, so might as well stake them, right? I already have them in my portfolio. But yeah, it's very interesting. You say mitigating some that now exist and being able to create a structured product. Yeah, I think it's something that's very interesting. Matthias, what do you see happening? Nothing, that's it? Everything is perfect?
I don't know. I mean, I can be as well as you want. If you want me to think about next 3 years, what innovation is going to come up for staking. I'm going to say, okay, one is DVT. It's going to keep the base layer safe. But because of DVT itself, the base layer is safe. So sometimes I go, wow, like, would there be something that's tied to a liquid staking token that is able to do and tie it with RWA? Maybe, right? And I have a conversation with one of our partners that I can't remember where it is. He was talking about using Ethereum staking as a way to actually pay rental for RWA property type. So it's pretty well. It's still initial idea. Then, but I think if you not to go so wow and all this itself, right? In next 3 years, everything is going to be DVT. And secondly itself, I feel that there might be a lot of new solution coming out, long tail solution coming out, be it whether we talk about additional layers like restaking, all right? Or even we talk about for those who can't take much risk itself, doing something like auto compounding in terms of the MVV rewards being paid out, the tips pay out, right? Many things can happen actually the next 3 years. But I would say next year onwards is really a scaling period for the DVP provider in the market. Yeah.
Okay, super interesting. Amitej?
So I do see innovation across multiple areas of the staking spectrum. Like if we actually just dissect different aspects of staking, one is the rewards aspect. There are going to be like a lot of innovations that will help users earn higher rewards using their Ethereum or any other proof of stake network like Matic. So restaking is one such spectrum that will probably gain a lot of traction in the future. I mean, even now platforms like EigenLayer have pioneered some of these. So there's going to be a significant amount of innovation on that realm. The other area that I see innovation happening is around the validation and the node operation side with the likes of DVT, and congratulations, by the way, on SSV's success. So a lot of technologies like DVT that will simplify validator operations at the same time, encouraging like newbies to participate. We also, we have enabled about 80% lower capital for validators to start spinning up nodes. And I do see, currently the threshold is at 4 ETH, and I do see that some innovation in that space in combination with DVT technology as well as potentially a few other areas of improvements, bringing down the barriers for anybody to spin up validators, probably go down to like 1 ETH or 1.5 ETH. So that's another area of innovation that I see when it comes to staking and liquid staking. And obviously a lot of opportunities around utilizing these liquid staking tokens or staked positions to enhance yields or participate in other activities. Who knows, potentially like staking yields could be diverted to climate change activities as well. Yeah, so I remain bullish on the space.
Yeah, regulation is also always a tough one to foresee what will happen and where. Obviously, different jurisdictions take different approaches. Yeah, so I guess last question for me before, if we have time, we'll give some questions to the crowd is Amitej, you can start. To all three of you, so somebody new coming into the space, or maybe they already have some ETH or perhaps Matic or some other POS token, and they're sitting there, they see they can get 5% in the bank, but they get nothing on their ETH or their Matic. How would they go about staking? What do you recommend for them to check, to do, if they want to start staking their tokens?
It's an interesting question. Depends on what you want to do with the token. If you plan to sell it or trade with it, I would recommend staking with a liquid staking platform, fully understanding the risks associated with it. if you're in it for the long run and want to sort of just passively enjoy the price appreciation while also earning some yields, you could consider plain native staking with any of the Ethereum validators. Just go do it in a decentralized way with a MetaMask or any other wallet.
Yeah. Matthias, anything to add?
Do your own research. Make sure you understand every protocol before you stake your ETH, and make sure you learn everything about, okay, even someone's FOMO you about running your own validator, but please, go and read yourself what is the necessary things that you need to ensure, like, if you run a solo staker, you need to know how to take care of your key, right? That is very, very important. Don't just go and listen to people, hey, solo staker can earn more and all this stuff. No, please don't do that. Do your own research, go and understand each and individual steps before you decide where you want to stake it or you want to run it yourself. Then also, like what Amit just said, depend on your objective. But of course, if there's any trader here, you guys can adopt a strategy of half-half. So stake half of your ETH, take the reward, and continue to trade.
Good advice. Mohak, we're out of time, but give us in a few seconds, your thoughts.
Yeah, as I said before, first of all, don't buy any asset just for staking unless you are in that asset for long term, because that's not going to help. One analogy you can think of is, don't think staking as a way to earn yield. Think of it as a way to not get diluted with the network. So for example, the analogy is think of establishment printing money every day. You are getting diluted. Here, if you don't stake, you are getting diluted. So inflation. Yeah. So that's a way to beat inflation.
Yeah, so I think we are out of...
I got one quick thing to add. Only stick with provider that got DBT enabled.
Yeah, so we are out of time, so I won't be doing questions from the audience, but our panelists have told me before they agreed to stick around if somebody has any questions to them. So thank you very much. I think this was super insightful, and I know I personally learned a lot. So thank you very much, and thanks for everyone who listened to us.
Thanks for moderating.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone.